Hi Apple lovers and welcome to another episode of the Tech Hub. This episode is an Apple Budget Buy Series episode where I review old Apple tech which is still usable and affordable today. This episode looks at the first generation Apple HomePod which was released in 2018. Is it still worth it in 2025? Let's find out. Let's get into it and let's start the episode. Okay, so let me give you an overview of this episode and a bit of a personal history with these HomePods. I have 3 of these HomePods. I've got this black one that I have in the dining room. It's set up on a TV in the corner and we use it as a speaker for the Apple TV because that little TV is not very good. I have this larger one which is paired with a second white one in the living room. There's only one thing better than the sound quality of one HomePod, and that's 2. And then we have 8 other HomePod minis. We have several pairings up. We have 1 in Thomas's room, 1 in our bedroom, 2 in Felicity's room, 2 in the kitchen, 2 in this kid's desk over here. So yeah, HomePods all around. Now, originally with my smart home, I did have everything Alexa, and then about 18 months ago, I made the shift and changed them all to HomePods. Yes. Straight off the back, the HomePods do not have applications like Alexa's do. However, we don't really use it for that. We just use it for the very basic Siri tasks, which is setting reminders, setting timers. My wife used the ones in the kitchen all the time, especially for timers. News bulletins, playing music, that's it. So if you're looking for something bigger and with more functionality, HomePods aren't there yet. However, the rumors are this year that they are really going to focus on the smart home. So let's see if that happens. But as it stands, yes, these are very functional, but they're no Alexa. Alexa does have more functionality. However, I think the sound quality is better, particularly on these larger HomePods. Now, I did do a video about my smart home setup, which I'll link below here and put a link here. So be sure to check that one out as well. Anyway, let's look at the history and the specifications of these awesome HomePods. Okay, so today we are rewinding the clock to take a closer look at the Apple HomePod first generation. It's Apple's bold first step into the smart speaker market, blending premium sound with Siri Smart. Yeah, Siri Smart on a very basic level. Let's hope that they deliver in iOS 19. So let's break down the history, specs, and what made the first HomePod so unique in a sea of Alexa and Google Home devices. Apple first unveiled the HomePod on June the 5th, 2017 during WWDC. Yes, the same event where iOS 11 made its debut. I mean, that's nuts. It seems like so long ago when you put it into iOS numbers. But it didn't hit the shelves right away. After a delay, it officially launched on February the 9th, 2018 in the US, UK and Australia. Apple pitched it not just as a smart speaker, but as a high-fidelity music experience powered by Apple Music and Siri. Like I said, there's no questioning the quality of the sound from this device. It is awesome. It was clear from day one that Apple wasn't aiming to compete on price. At $349 or pounds, I believe it was the same, the HomePod was significantly more expensive than most smart speakers on the market. But Apple wasn't chasing budget buyers. They were chasing audiophiles who wanted smart home features. However, sales didn't quite take off as expected. While it was praised for its sound quality, the HomePod faced criticism from its limited smart features, Siri's limitations and heavy reliance on the Apple ecosystem. Apple eventually discontinued the first-gen HomePod in March 2021, surprising many, though it laid the groundwork for a more affordable HomePod Mini and eventually the HomePod second generation. I remember when they discontinued it, it was like, okay, that's it for HomePods, and then out of nowhere the second generation did come, which was good. So let's dig into what was actually under the hood. Hey, so audio hardware, high excursion 4-inch woofer with 7 beamforming tweeters, each with its own amplifier. 6 microphone array for far-field Siri and acoustic collaboration. Real-time tuning powered by the Apple A8 chip, the same chip from the iPhone 6. Again, that's nuts. iPhone 6, that's crazy. It's like a decade ago. This setup gave the HomePod its 360-degree audio capability and adaptive room sensing, meaning it could analyze the space around it and tailor its sound output accordingly. And I think it works because wherever mine are, it's not like it's in the center of a room. It does adapt to the walls it's next to. As for the smart features, Siri built-in voice control, smart home commands and personal requests, deep integration with Apple Music and the Home app on iOS, AirPlay 2 support for multi-room audio, and that was the caveat where if it was a non-Apple app running directly from it, you could just stream it on AirPlay. Initially limited third-party support, although this gradually improved. However, it hasn't really come on that far since. Now, design-wise, it's a cylindrical shape, about 6.8 inches tall, available in white or space grey. Seamless mesh fabric for both style and acoustic transparency. Top surface with LED waveform display that lights up when Siri is active. Connectivity-wise, it has Wi-Fi 802.11 AC with MIMO. Bluetooth 5.0, though this is not user accessible for streaming. The only way to stream to it is AirPlay. It does have support for Thread via software updates later in its cycle, and you would just update it from the Home app. So, was the first HomePod a failure? Not really. It didn't dominate the market like Apple hoped, but it carved out a niche for people who cared more about audio fidelity than a budget price tag or cross-platform support or all of those functioning apps. Again, the sound quality is where this wins. And for me, that's more important. If you listen to music, you want it to sound the best. And while it didn't sell in huge numbers, the HomePod first generation showed Apple's ambition, combining software, hardware, and design in a way that only Apple can. It also set the stage for smarter home integrated HomePods in the years that followed, as well as the rumored smart home thing that's supposed to be coming. Now, like I said, I'm a big fan of these. I've got HomePods as well. So let's compare it to the second generation. Okay, so today we're going to do a full-on comparison of the Apple HomePod first generation and the newer second generation HomePod. Now, I don't have a second generation, I've only got these first generations to show you, but it pretty much looks identical. So from design tweaks to audio differences and smarter features, we're breaking it all down. So if you're wondering whether the upgrade is worth it, stick around. At first glance, the two HomePods look almost identical. Both have that same clean cylindrical shape wrapped in mesh fabric with a glowing top that lights up when Siri is active. But there are some small differences. The second gen HomePod is ever so slightly shorter and lighter. Not that that matters because it's not exactly moving around. The color options are very little different too. While the original came in white and space gray, the second generation introduced a midnight finish instead of the space gray, which was deeper tone and made it more eco-friendly materials. The videos I've seen about them is a slightly bluey shade, but I think you'd struggle to tell the difference. Also, the touch surface on the top of the second gen is more responsive and better. Integrated into the design, it lights up across the entire surface now, giving it a more modern and interactive feel. So the same thing apart from just the middle, and there's a slight dip down. This dips up, the new one dips down. So let's talk about sound, because this is where it gets interesting, and this is the most important thing. The original HomePod had a 4-inch high exclusion woofer and 7 beamforming tweeters arranged in a circle. It also used a 6 microphone array for detecting voice commands and tuning the audio based on the room. The second gen still uses the same woofer, but surprisingly it drops the number of tweeters from 7 to 5 and the mic array goes down to 4. That might sound like a downgrade, but Apple's leaning into smarter software instead of just throwing more hardware at it. With better audio algorithms and spatial awareness, the second gen is designed to sound just as good, if not better, in real-world use, especially when paired with another HomePod for stereo sound or used in a smart home theater setup. Now, I've not heard the second gen. Actually, I do remember all the videos from when it came out, and it was hard to distinguish the two, and I heard that the bass was still better on the first gen. So now this is where the real difference lies, the brains behind the speaker. The original HomePod used the Apple A8 chip, the same one that was found in the iPhone 6, which is now 10 years old. It was impressive at the time and allowed the HomePod to do real-time audio tuning and beamforming. But the second gen steps it up with Apple S7 chip, the one used in the Apple Watch Series 7. It's more efficient and allows the better computational audio, which is a term they started using, which means smarter sound adjustments based on your space, music type, and even volume level. And while the first HomePod focused purely on music and voice commands, the second gen adds new features like temperature and humidity sensors, plus sound recognition, so it can detect smoke and carbon monoxide alarms and notify you via your iPhone. The temperature and humidity is pretty cool as well, and the HomePod minis have that too. That's really the only feature that I miss and not having in these. So when it comes to connectivity and smart home support, the second gen really pulls ahead. It has built-in Thread support, which helps it act as a hub for other smart home devices, especially ones using Apple Matter's standard. So Matter is compatible with the second gen, not the first. That means that better reliability, speed, and compatibility across ecosystems, even outside of Apple's own. One slightly odd move though, the second gen HomePod actually uses Wi-Fi 4, not Wi-Fi 5 like the original, but in practice it hasn't really impacted performance, and I've not heard that that's a huge negative. Both models have Bluetooth 5.0 and both support AirPlay 2 for multi-room audio, but overall the newer HomePod is far more future-proof for smart home setup. You say that, but I'm still rocking this first generation, and apart from the temperature thing, it's doing the same thing as the second gen. So which one should you go for? If you've already got the original HomePod and it's working fine, and keep enjoying it. It still sounds fantastic and does what it's built to do. And we're going to talk about the pricing, and really the point of this is this one. But if you're in the market for a new smart speaker, you're probably not even watching this anyway, but you're building a smart home around Apple's HomeKit and Matter, the second gen is clearly the better choice. This is really not about the new product though. It sounds great, it's smarter, and it's much better integrated into Apple's growing ecosystem, but only just. The audio is no better though. Plus, it's priced similarly to the original at launch, which makes it more balanced package all around. So let's look at pricing. Okay, so pricing wise, the first gen I've got as low as £100 in an auction in good quality, maybe not with a box, but good. And the second gen, I don't see many of them, and they're around about £200 to £250. Right now, price for a first gen is about £150. I haven't really noticed that, and brand new from Apple, you can get the second gen for £299. You can get this for a buy it now price of £250. So we're talking, there's definitely at least £100 gap between the two. Is the second gen worth an extra £100? Definitely not. It doesn't sound any better, and the slight better features it has, for me, is not worth £100. It's just my opinion, and like I said, if you're watching this video, this is very much about a budget. So for £100 to a maximum of £150, don't spend more than £150 on these. This is still a very capable, excellent sounding speaker. Just, if you're coming from Alexa, don't expect all of those apps. I think that will come in time, but buy this for the sound quality, not for the interactions. Okay, so that's it for this episode of the Tech Hub. If you've enjoyed this look back at the HomePod, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a beat in the Apple world or a Tech Hub video. Have you ever owned an original HomePod? Are you still using it today? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, please be kind, and I'd love to hear from your experience. Please follow me at Instagram and Threads at TechHubWorldUK, or check out my website, at www.techhubworlduk.co.uk, and I'll see you on the next episode.